So, Bart, I have the tremendous pleasure to have followed a training of yours some time ago. It's transpersonal coaching and also reconstructive. It was really something that I really needed without knowing that I needed it. And I'm really grateful for you to offer it in the way you do, because meeting you, you're such a kind and strong person. And I also like how balanced the qualities are that you have. It's also like a sense of danger that you have to you, which is very like unpredictable, but also a kind and a sweetness. So it was really interesting for me to meet somebody like you in this position. So thank you for that, and thank you for participating in this interview.
Yeah, thank you, Igor, for the words, nice words, and also for the invitation. I'm happy to be here and to share whatever I have. Maybe reacting to what you say, it isn't so that I'm born that balanced. If you would, you should ask my parents how they look at me, and then I would say that it was more they would certainly see the dangerous side in me. So in the first period of my life, that part was far more on the foreground, and as I couldn't understand myself, that part was also very unbalanced. That means that I wasn't always like that, but people remember those parts, which had to do with, of course, anger and a certain kind of like impossibility to accept the world as it was. So I'm really happy you mentioned those, but because it's true, I have a really kind side, and I have I like also the ability to really, I would say, kill what needs to be killed, like it's a sort of both. But it has been, I'm nearly 60, so it has been a really long journey to find some balance, to find some integration, because those parts, of course, were really totally split, and it was my desperation also that I couldn't link them, that I couldn't find like a common, like as if they couldn't exist together. There was what the one part or the other part. And the kind part was abused by everybody, like that was really abused and abused and abused, because that's the way it goes. And then the other part scared everybody away. So it's kind of it has been really, that is like maybe the definition of my life, the sort of the path to bring those parts together as in one person, so that they can a little bit collaborate together, those two qualities. And for me, it has been extremely difficult to find that. And as I wasn't aware what I was doing, in a way, you're not aware that you are in that kind of process. But finally, when I look back, I think that was the process.
Yeah, thank you. I remember this thing that you mentioned, which was, you once told me, like, if we were both on a deserted island, we had no food, who do you think would kill the other one first? Do you remember that?
Yes.
And you said, I would eat you.
Yeah. Well, I'm always, like the child in me was always really afraid that people would see me like a bad person, like a bad person. But some kind underneath, I'm all my life, I've been proud also of that part, like it's a sort of, it's like nature itself, there is no animals that just kill each other, and I love animals, like everybody wants to live, every tree in nature wants to be there and pushes all the other trees away. So life is so precious. I want to live, and that is like a tribute to life in a way. And if I would say, okay, you can live and I will die, that is so, like, oh my God. So in a way, unrespectful to life. So yeah, for me, life is the biggest. And that is also that respect to life and to what is survival. And of course, we are humans. So we have that programming that wants to be good persons and honesty and, like, justice for everybody, like, how can we, and like the planet is going to a disaster. Why? Because there is no room for everybody, like it's kind of, it will, like humans, they need a change because they can't resolve it with I would say with the ethics they have now. It's kind of it's so I'm really, well, I'm happy to live now. I'm happy to live now. And of course I mean, in the beginning of my life, I loved animals far more than humans. So it has been a kind of a slow process to slowly love humans as well, like, but and okay, I'm more in touch now with I would say the humankind, the mind, and the controlling that we people do. But I want to be really in touch with my animal side. And more and more, and I'm able to do it on a way, on a sort of a, I would say, with a smile, because if you do it like to, I mean, I don't want, I never killed a person, like that is like the other kind. Some people, they really, well, I do a lot of groups, and sometimes I ask, are there any perpetrators here? Are there any killers here, or any people who just go to steal other people? And never. So every time you have only nice people there, like only good willing, innocent. So where are they? I would like to have the people there that live the life with the violence also, because it's also a way to deal with reality. But of course, like, that's what we, like the helpers, we need to, well, we need to realize that those people don't come. Those people don't come to us.
I wonder, because you say you really want that animalistic side of you, and you have more or less integrated it, or you're in the process of integrating it. Why are there like people, killers, or some people who are really like, who have that dark side, who are really consciously or unconsciously killing people or doing those kind of things, and they're not able to integrate it? Like, where's the like the link, like you can integrate this or not integrate this?
Well, I would like to tell you something about what my definition is of shadow. Right? My definition of shadow is not only that animal side. Okay, that's part of the side, but the shadow is, for me, linked with the unseen child in me. Okay, so it's a really vulnerable side. It's all the feelings linked with being overwhelmed, not being able to process, not being able to understand, being hurt, and not knowing what to do. Okay, that's the shadow. All those feelings, and there is no way I can contain myself. I can understand, and so I push them all away, and then I create a mask. And sometimes the mask is really animal-like, like, okay, I will kill everybody before they can kill me. So that is my way of protecting that I won't get hurt. So it's protection. Like, violence is a way to protect yourself. Okay, I would tell them, it's your child is not protected, because violence, you will, at a certain point, you will end up in jail, and then then what with the child? So it isn't effective. You could say it isn't smart, but that animal side is a mask in violence. It's a mask. Like we have another type of mask. We don't have that. We have like we are good guys, like, we just, oh, I love everybody. We love that's the mask of spiritual people, like, oh my God, so that is another way. And that is like, in a way, survival also, because what do we want with that mask? Yeah, we want attention and we want to be seen as good people. So in a way, it's survival also. So it's kind of, but for me, really, the shadow is that child, the boy that was never seen, and that inclusive. I can't see him really, and he has he can't show himself. He doesn't have words. He can't bring himself in the world, but he influences my thinking, my emotions, my protection. Yes. And then the mask is always the protection. It's always the protection for the little boy who isn't seen, but it isn't an efficient protection. It's like a protection for the first part of life. And then the mask becomes the problem. Because the mask never is really in contact with the world. There is no good contact. Inclusive, if you are like a good person, well, you're not in contact with reality, because reality of the world is survival. And if you are a bad person, you're not in contact with reality either. Like, because you will end up paying the price.
Yeah.
So the challenge, I think, it's all the integration is the little boy who never has been seen, the feelings that are there, and then to link them with the mask, because the mask will never disappear. I'm beyond illusions that we humans, we can really change.
Wow.
So I have to stay with my mask. And I have to stay with my little boy who's never seen, and they will be with me until the moment I die. The only thing I can do is that I can bring them into contact with each other. Like, our mind is a split between the mask and the boy. So I'm or my mask or the boy, because sometimes I feel desperate and anxious and so it's like one or the other, but never both at the same time. Yeah. And so the only thing we can do is that they learn to collaborate, to coexist, to integrate. And that is then sort of a balanced unity that gives a little bit of hope, or a little bit of contact, you could say. I think contact is only possible out of that balanced state. Yeah. The mask is out of contact, and the boy in himself is out of contact as well. And so the only real contact that can happen is in the integration, in the point where they both meet. But most of people are so afraid of their own boy, of the feelings, of it isn't going anywhere. It's like, so they're so afraid, so they want the mask, and they don't realize that nobody's waiting for the mask. Like, I have another mask than my animal side. I have a sort of an enthusiastic, I arrange it mask, like, count on me, I will do it. Yeah. But I tire everybody with that mask. Nobody's waiting for that guy. I'm waiting. I think I'm safe with that. But in a way, a lot of women have, like, I sacrifice myself for my children. And, like, that's, I sacrifice. And they can't realize that no child is waiting for a mom who's sacrificing himself. It's a burden. But they're totally out of contact with that reality. It's out of, I sacrifice. And then, of course, okay, I make of my children the ones who oblige me to sacrifice myself. It's awful. And we are unable to, and it's general. I mean, it's like, and we are unable to see it. We are unable to get in touch with that. Although we say it, we continue. That's the mask. That's the strength of the mask. We simply continue. Although it is out of contact. Out of contact in a way. I'm not saying that there are no qualities in it. Like, I like my enthusiastic, I fix it side, but I really, contact is not there. Contact is not there.
Thank you.
And I'm, of course, afraid of that boy in me that was not seen, and that can be so angry or desperate or afraid. but contact is not there. With those extremes, nobody can get in touch. Nobody. It's just impossible. The only contact is when I bring them to when I do something and I bring them together. And that is not, I mean, that is a path. I mean, that's never easy. That's why there are so many, I would say, well, in a way, unhappy people, although with their mask, which is different, of course, they obtain a lot, or they live like lives, but underneath there is a sort of they are searching, and most of them, they don't know what they search for. When I ask my groups, what do you look for, the most of them say, like, inner peace, like finding something in myself, like, and it's in a way so difficult. So just bringing those two together, it's like a lifetime job.
Yeah. So it's not everybody gets to experience that in their life.
Well, I think, that is also, I think we, like the spiritual good people, we need to be, I would say, humble, or learn to be humble. I think we will never know what lives of others are about. If I take the life of, I don't know, Mr. Putin, I don't know what his life is about, and I will never know. I can project whatever on his life, or on the life of a criminal, or on a life of, I don't know, but we don't know what they are here for. We don't know what they learn finally. And I think life is over after the last minute. Then it's over. So the learning process is not stopping. And we don't have to be arrogant in a way that the way we learn, which is this way, and it's different for everybody, but that it's like automatically for everybody. I mean, that is something, maybe that was like, as a helper for me, the most difficult thing, to lose really my arrogance and my good intentions for everybody. But in a way, it's obliging people also to take the path with which worked for you. It's I think that is really, as we don't know really what life is about. What's the life of a tree about? Okay, the only thing you can see is, oh, wow, it never stops. I can insult him, I can do with that whatever with the tree, but it just goes on. And then finally, after 80 years, there is an enormous tree, and it grows. Those are facts. But we don't know really, we never can know what this life is about. So it's the same about us. We can know a little bit what our life is about, and I think my life is about changing codes. Like, if you stay, like, imagine if you have like 10 winters with the same coat, oh my God, then energy is so you need to change codes, and what our codes are what your beliefs, like what I thought love was at 20, and what I thought love was at 30 and 40 and 50 and 60. Oh my God. And that change, that, I think that is life. Life is a change. Life is about very fundamental, essential things like love, or life, or what is, or me, who am I, the way I see myself now, I perceive myself, that difference between how I'm perceived and how I perceive myself, it's a path. It's not one thing. We don't, in that way we don't exist. We exist only in the change. And of course, the change is like, it's like a tree, every circle of the tree, it's like 1 year after a year, it's like, it's in a way bigger. So all my self-images, okay, they grow, they become different, but the first one is in the center, the one I had as a little boy, and then other beliefs come, and there is my path, you know, there is my path. And of course I'm more in contact with the latest, you know, the latest
Mhm.
discovery
Mhm.
about who the hell is Bart De Coninck. You know,
Yeah.
that is kind of a huge discovery. I'm
Yeah.
more in contact with the latest, but yeah, I'm very open to the discovery of next 5 years. I
Mm.
mean,
Mm.
why would I think, yeah, it will stay the same? It will not stay. I hope it will not stay the same. I hope in 10 years I will be a really different person,
Mm.
you know,
I.
at least for myself, because if not, well, it's so boring, you know, it's
Mm.
so and and for us, it's I think for humans it's really really difficult to live with that change, you know, to live with that change, as our mind wants control. Our mind is about not losing, as if we can lose something, you know, and our mind is not about let a change come, you know, let a change come. I'm so bored of myself. Most people are bored of themselves, but then you say them just change. Oh no, you know, like, and
Yeah.
we are fed up with ourselves. It's so that is kind of, that's something that all my life interested me, like, hugely, how you see that people repeat and repeat and repeat, and
Yeah.
then
Mm.
but they're not happy repeating.
Mm. Mm.
So that paradox, in a way, it's a paradox, and it's a tension field. I like very much, because for me it's kind of the center of life
Mm.
for a human, because we
Uh,
have that brain that gives us all kinds of signals,
mm.
in a way, to split. The brain is always about splitting,
Mm.
about splitting.
I remember you told me once, like, we are not responsible for our traumas, but we are responsible for transforming them. And then also because I was telling about my own story and how I wanted to save somebody, and you were like, trying to save somebody without their permission is aggression, basically, because you're
Mm,
taking away their responsibility.
mm,
And like just having the respect for another human, his path,
mm,
it's like, yeah, it seems
mm,
very basic, but these kind of, yeah,
mm.
very,
Well,
very, yeah.
it is as hilarious as a little boy like you, me,
Yeah.
who really thought when he was 5 that it was his task to make the mommy happy.
Mm.
And the mommy would never be happy, not in a million years. And certainly not through you. You know,
Mm.
like, but he saw it as his responsibility. It's kind of clever, no? It has also sort of cleverness. It's like idiot, but at the same time, it's clever because he felt safe. Okay, I will save mama. Okay, it's an impossible job, but I don't mind. I just do it, and then I'm safe.
Mm.
The reward, the child thinks, we stay children until we die, that the reward will come. I
Mm.
do stupid things, you know. I invest in the impossible. I save the ones who can't be saved, and the reward will come. And that's the midlife crisis. That's the moment that you are there
Uh,
you know, you are there and there are no fruits. You want to, you know, that's the moment where we say, okay, I invested that much.
yeah.
Where is the result? And there is no result.
Mm.
So that is kind of yeah, that is painful. Well, that is really
Yeah.
painful. And then that's mostly the first time people really enter in the real pain of the not seen child.
Mm. Mm.
That, you know, you will not resolve it by saving the world. You
Yeah.
will not resolve it by saving others. You will not resolve it. You're not safe. You're not safe in whatever attempt in the outside world. So you need to address something in yourself, but before that you have to know that it's in you.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know I had so much pain in me, you know, like, you're angry and you react also to the parents, but you don't know anything about pain. You
Mm.
have no words
Mm.
for and you can't really, in a way, see that reality. As a child, you can't realize they are not able to see me, not because they're bad people, but just because they can't. They just see a sort of projection of themselves,
Yeah.
and you're not able to understand anything. I think that is the biggest problem, is the understanding of that paradox in ourselves.
Mm.
The paradox between like the mask, I'm the rock, and and the mask, and then that child, which is totally the opposite.
Yeah.
And that paradox needs to be really understood. If not, we are so, in a way, so desperate. No, you're like,
Mm.
okay, I tried this and then I do that, and then the feelings come. Yeah, in couples, that's something I thought this morning. Like I had a session, and or couples are marvelous, to listen to, because they are so, well, they are so in that paradox. They say, oh my God, we have the terrible fights, we nearly kill each other, but it's all about nothing.
Mm.
Okay. And that's what people say. It's details we fight about. Details. It's nothing important. So why do you do it? And they are there with that innocent birth, with that innocent, they both agree. They both agree they kill each other for nothing. And then they look at you like, okay, come on, guy, give it a go. So in our couple, and that is, of course, the mask says, no, we have the perfect relationship. And then you have two unseen children and they kill each other.
Mm.
And then they jump from one to another, from one to another. And when they're in the mask, nothing happened.
Mm. Mm.
And that is how we are, humans. That is how we are. That is really how we are.
Why do you think people are not like brought up with this awareness that we have like these dynamics in our being, and that it's so crucial in our lives to function as beings?
Yeah, I would say, like, it will happen. I think it will happen. It's just a matter of time. We are now in times where the intellect is really, like our whole education, including the spiritual people who now try to educate their children, but our whole education is still mind. It's the mind who will deliver the solution. And here the mind is the problem. So the mind is the one who we need to learn to park. If you park your mind, then the body will integrate those two parts like naturally. But you need to learn how to park your mind. You will do the opposite. And even like the attempt spiritual people nowadays make to give their children a happier life, but they just give to their children what they needed as children. So they don't see them either. And they don't park their mind. It's all spirituality comes from the mind. So yeah, well, so we have a long time to go, but I will probably not live it, but I'm really convinced that one day people will understand that, well, I say it like more because I like to be brute, I say we need to learn to educate our children as animals. Yeah. And then they're free, like I told you, like the story of my dog. It was like one of the biggest moments in my life. We had a puppy and we bought it from neighbors, like 10 houses further. And they had the father and the mother. So they had a couple and they had a nest, and we took a puppy.
Yeah.
And then, of course, like those people, they never walked with the dogs that much. So we never met them. Yeah. But at a certain Sunday, we met. So we were walking with our dog, and the dog met his parents, and he was 1 year old. So we had sort of, wow, and his name was Ben. Wow, Ben, your parents, like, the one big meeting, and all the humans were excited. Okay, what happened? What happened with Ben? So Ben approached his parents. He jumped on the mother. The father took him here. He said, rah! And there was a slow fight. And then Ben continued, like 20 seconds, and it was over. And all the humans were like, oh my God, what is this? What is this? And nobody said anything. We were all out of the world. Yeah. And that is a capacity that animals have to forget. He just saw a female dog. He just saw a female dog, and it happened to be his mother. But imagine the freedom.
Yeah. Hmm.
And so, and animals, they well, I have a lot of chicken, and I love them. And then it's so incredible, like all the little ones, they run behind the mother. It's never the mother who runs behind. Well, we humans, all the mothers and fathers, they run behind the children. Imagine that. Nowadays we do that. The children run and we run behind. That's like life is happy, like, oh my God. No, the children, the chicken, the big one, the mother is going, and the little ones, they run behind. And then at a certain moment it's over, then mama says, well, hotel is closed. And then they just, then they're just on themselves, and they're okay. They are okay. Of course, for us humans, we have that mind with all that stories and all that. Well, in a way, why do we keep our parents that long? Well, because we are still in hope that at a certain moment they will give us what we never had, and they will never do.
Yeah.
So we stay hoping like little children until they die. And then mostly people, after their parents die, then they go into a process of holy shit. We stay children waiting, and we can't realize that if they didn't give it to us, it's because they couldn't.
Yeah.
And maybe we did a kind of weird interpretation of reality. We really think that our memories are true, and they aren't. It's proven that 50% of the memories of our childhood, and then I speak about, later than 6 years, because of course from the first 6 years we can't remember anything, but even the afterwards, that they are like our mind changed them. And the older you get, the more change you have. So in a way, you create your own story. And it is not even true what you remember. You just remember what is convenient to you. So you create a story that is convenient with your emotions. But your emotions are blocked and are always the same. So you just create stories to justify your emotions. And it's like, and it's not even true.
Yeah. But it's all unconsciously, right? It's such, you really need like processes or really like shocking events to become aware of that's even there, because you take it for granted. This is who I am. This is how I feel. I've always been like this. I like this. I want this.
Well, that is kind of one of the more fascinating parts, I think, of a discovery, that I'm not what I think. Like my words, they are nothing, like I'm sometimes I imagine, I'm kind of a bit crazy sometimes. I imagine animals talking about us, about the humans. Like, or trees talking about us. They would say, oh my God, they only talk, they don't do anything, they only talk, and they think they do something because they talk. And what they say is just air. I remember the first workshop in reconstructive I did in Holland, in Groningen, with Carola in 2013. It's like 9 years ago, in September now, like. And well, you have that, like, it was a big group, 35 people, and of course you start with a round, okay, and there you talk. And I talked, and then of course afterwards I realized, oh my God, what did I say? I didn't say nothing about what I wanted to say, as if I talked nonsense. And I felt like for 2 hours I felt like shit, because I thought, oh my God, I spoiled my whole workshop. That's the importance we give to our words. Of course, what I can't remember those words. I'm sure that the day after, even Carola, she forgot all my words, all the other participants, nobody listened in a way. But what was important of that weekend, that was what I did afterwards in the work, the movements, the actions, and the effect on me, and that I will never forget. Without any word. And I'm sure the other participants they were in my group, they still remember, like, the energy of the actions, of the movements. But we are always so focused on the words, as if they are our reality. And they are nothing. They are air, I'm very aware that these are words. And so in a way, well, you know, they will like, you know, they will not.
Thank you so Bart. I'll have to send you a new link because I don't have the pro version, so we will be cut off in
Okay, yeah. So
sorry.
yeah, so cut off. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
so okay. So we go out now and I
Yeah.
enter again. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. Sorry for the inconvenience. So I wanted to ask you, how influential are parents on our upbringing, on our maturing, on our life overall?
Well, that is an interesting question. And it's a paradox as well. I think it's a real paradox. For me, like the what I like what I like to be is an example. Okay? And an example as simple as how life needs to be lived. Yeah, like in a way, like chicken. You know, they just show how you live life. You eat, and you do it, and then you believe that the other one will do it like you or differently. It's not so. Yeah, in a way, I think that's the only thing you can do as a parent. So you can't do something directly. Whatever you try to do directly, it's in a way you do it for your child. You know, you do it for your child. Like my child needed to be understood, so I will understand my child even if it's crazy what he says. You know, like, but you know, so that is, I'm sure, what is not working. That you give your child what you missed. That is because of course so the most difficult thing to do is to see the reality of your child as a reality you can't see. So you need to see that you can't see it.
Wow.
So that you only see, well, I see little Bart in my son. I don't see my son. And that I have to live with that. But okay, if I'm true to myself and I treat my little Bart better and better and better, and I learn him how to live life, then I can be sure that the other one is watching me, and my son is watching me, you know, like, and that he will get something. But whatever his life is about, so what he comes here to learn, I can't influence that. And that it depends. And we are abused by our children. You know, I abused my parents. I put them in a role, and I'm sure it's a role they don't want to be in. But, you know, I saw that in them and only that. And of course, my parents are far more than that. But all the rest, I just, I deleted all the things. And I just kept to the well, in my case, it was a little bit a not so happy story, and mostly it's what we make of our childhood. We make them like paradise, and that then we put under the carpet all the negative feelings, or we make it like, you know, like they didn't see me, or, you know, one didn't see me, and then of course there is another side I don't want to see, and I put under the carpet. So it's yeah, I think really I say a lot to clients because it's a question that is very frequently, because a lot of people are really, as they don't have any control about their own child, they want their own children to be happier than they are themselves. That's impossible. And the other thing I say is, if you have a child and that child is 12, it is as conscious as you were at 12. How conscious is that? So children don't know themselves. They don't have themselves. So they don't have any receptor, because it's only the knowing of myself, the integration of those two parts, which can allow me to have contact. So to give contact and to receive contact. And that's for children is, I always say, if you still can live it, that at one day, maybe if you are 80, you have had a moment of contact with your child, which is a little bit true, then you're okay.
Wow.
But, and all the rest is blah, blah, blah. A lot of blah, blah, blah.
Wow. So,
but it's amazing, they grow by themselves. It's life. They grow by themselves. They have an own life, an open perception, their own culture, their own time, which is really, there is always a generation. I'm born in 63. Well, my son is not born in 63. That is really clear, which makes that the influences he has in his are totally different. So it's kind of, and with words we don't reach there. So his words are to me are as honest as my words were to my dad. So I don't make too much illusions. And my son, he says to me, I find it funny because it's so, and he believes it, he really believes it. He says, in what state, he knows I do man groups also, that he finds man groups even more fascinating than the mixed groups, but he says, he can't understand that people come to me. He just can't. He said, in what kind of a state all those men have to be to pay you to come to you? So they must be so desperate. And then he says, and you take all their money. That's me. So he's revealing himself, but, and I really believe him that that is how he sees it now.
Now. Because he doesn't have the reference points of life.
He just can't imagine that I can be a person where somebody gets something. So in his vision, the only possible truth must be that I kind of abuse them. I kind of all those weak lost men. I abuse them. I take the money, and then so it's and well, at his age, I had a really limited view also of my parents.
Yeah, of course.
So that's what we have, and it's kind of really, that is how he sees me. And I really, really believe it, that is what his perception is. That is what he sees. And of course, he is not able to see me. And I have to be okay with that. I'm not going to, I'm not doing anything, because it's also his right. It's of course his ego, but I'm not the one. It's not my task to, it's not my task. It's his. He is allowed to see in me whatever he wants to see in me.
I remember you said something in the likes of, do everything you can till 6 or 7, and then let the world take care of the rest.
I mean, okay, we have like in the school a shared vision on how important the 6 first years of life are to, I would say a little bit as a container for everything. The big problem with people in general is that we can't contain our emotions. We can't contain our emotions. That means that, whatever happens to a child, the child can't understand it. The child can't understand at age of 2 that sometimes mom is there and sometimes mom is not there. And I think we young children, we treat them like more adult than they are, as if they were able to understand. And then from 6 years old, we treat them like as little children. Then they have that brain, that brain that knows everything. From 6 years old, a child knows everything. And then we treat them as little children, because we believe the brain, we believe everything they say. And it shouldn't be the opposite. Like to give as much containing as you can, not explication, because they can't understand anything until 6. Not words, not just, body containment, body contact, like reassurance. And I think the biggest thing you need to do, or you can do for your children until age 6, is be calm yourself.
Mm.
You know, be yeah, be in contact with yourself.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the effect bodily you will have on the child is, I can trust him. Like he's in touch with himself. So I'm next to him, this body. So it's like even without one word. So it just, become like, well, the most you can do on the integration level, because the child, even if you have body contact, imagine you are a sacrificing mother and you are unhappy and you're anxious and you're full of emotions. But then, okay, you will be the perfect mother and you have the child from 0 to 6 on your body. But yeah, that is a body full of fear.
Yeah.
So the more you can do, like to be in tune with your own body, to be in tune with your emotions and to contain them, it will automatically pass, like the little chicken, they get the energy of the big one. It just, without one word, it just frequency, it just passes.
Yeah.
So you can't fool them. So even if you do a lot of efforts, but I think like as a society, it would be, I was, that's maybe a nice story. I was with the Bribris, and that's an indigenous population in Costa Rica, and they live really what we call primitively, in the way they build, in the way their education, on every level. And well, there are not so many, I think less than 100,000, and they open themselves now to foreigners in a way you can visit there and stay a little bit and see how they live. And one of the things that was really amazing for me is that from the moment a couple was pregnant, okay, until the child was 2-3 years old, not the mother and the father didn't work. So the work was done by the brothers and the men of the society. So they took over the tasks of the father, and of the mother, it was taken over by the other women. Okay, and the reason why was, so for us was like, so why also the father that looked like kind of progressive to us, while he would do a shitty job anyway. So it's kind of so simple. It's kind of so simple. But of course that makes that man and that woman are more, they are carried.
Yeah.
They are carried during the pregnancy.
Yeah.
Okay, they're pregnant. It's a big step. It's big, but they have the space to do it, and they are carried in that community. So that is an advantage. And then, of course, I suppose that those two parents, during the first days, the first years of the life of their child, they are a little bit calmer than if you have to run and you have a boss that, like, so that is kind of in the organization, a way to help.
Yeah.
And that is on an organizational level, of course. And then you have the individual level where, of course, the more that man and that woman, that father and that mother are in touch with their own child, they will be okay in whatever situation. So even if there is a storm, or even if there is a big fire, or even, they're just able to process it and to stay in their center. So there are two things. That is the personal evolution of every human being, and then, of course, the way society is built around. But I think we can't, well, the influence of society is really big, and we can't change that. Well, like in a way it will change one day, and we can do something, but it's like we are like one little piece of the puzzle. Just one. We're not even if I was like the Minister of Education, imagine I was the Minister of Education here in Belgium, I wouldn't know what to do. Holy shit. How do you start? Where do you start? So it's kind of so I think what we can do in this society, that I think of course I believe in a change. I work for a better future. I really believe people can grow, but on a society level, I don't know where we go, and I don't have anything to say about that. Not good, not bad, I don't know. I think everything has a reason to exist. But yeah, I think it's really important for children to 6 years to stay close to the parents, like, and then of course they take their energy. And if there is a lot of anxiety in the parents, then you will have an anxious child. It's like that. And then, of course, from 6 on, you say to the child, okay, live, discover the world and create your own experiences. Create your own experiences, not mine. Create your own experience, learn, fall, make mistakes, and learn.
Yeah.
But learn, be responsible. Be responsible, not. So that is those are the two movements I see, and there are totally different movements, and we people, we are not very good in it. I think we leave our young children too much alone, in a way, too much, because we are thinking then about our house and about a future. We are thinking then about the university in 20 years. Jesus Christ, I mean. So of course we think about them, but not about the now. And then at 6, then we think that we need to be like on top of them.
I wonder, are your parents or the dynamic of your parents still alive in you, in Bart now?
Well, how do I say? Yeah, I think well, it's a little bit the different perceptions. Okay, I started with a certain perception of myself, of my mother. If we take the mother, okay, so you grow up from the moment you are able to think. You think something about that mother and about you, and you think always in terms of what you miss, what they didn't give you, what you had the right to. I remember as a child, I was really I had sort of cruel fantasies that I would die and then they would suffer. And then they would finally miss me, like that kind of crazy, totally crazy. But, it's like that. That's like the first perception. And of course, then you live. And for me, the first real experience was when I left home, like when I was out of that house, how certainly I was able to come there without fighting. It was like, oh my God, it's possible to be with my parents, to have coffee together, like, and to behave. Wow, that was like, for me, that was the world upside down. So that was the first big. But then, of course, I noticed, like when I grew, that there was each time tension in me when I was going there. So I learned progressively to relax myself. But I had to be aware also about the things I didn't want, because I always ended up sort of in a sort of a conflict. So it was kind of, so I needed really to learn myself how to be there quiet, in a way, quiet, not to scare them. I needed to learn to not scare my parents. Why? Because then I was like, it was better for me, It's sort of to be, and it's a learning. And of course I learned a lot by being a father myself, because then you understand that it's not all that simple, and like all kinds of crazy. So that is kind of the way it. And I would say in that process, like, reconstructive meant a lot to me. Like, the relationship with my mother will never be the same it was before. Now I lived reconstructive, and I lived that part, which was a part that I didn't see, I couldn't see, and that is there in her and in me, of course. And that part changes a lot, and in my father as well, so it's kind of perception. But of course the first perception never really leaves, like, I have to be aware not to go there, because it's no use to go there, but it's still there. It's still there. And a big moment of learning in the relationship with my mother was the moment I realized I had a choice. I had a choice. It was when I lived a bit a crazy life. Well, from there, point of view, it's totally crazy in my life. So I became a doctor. I was a good student. It was easy. I worked as a doctor. I earned good money. And then at 40, I said, okay, I stop with it. I go studying psychotherapy. I became a psychotherapist. And then, I worked there. And for them, it was really a bit crazy. What is he doing? Like, what is this about? I know my mother said, okay, in our village, it doesn't exist, psychotherapy. Okay, and I will do it. Like it's kind of, it's that kind of. And then, okay, 10 years later, of course, my practice was good, big practice with I think 8 or 9 people working with me together, and we had our 10th anniversary, and it was a reception. A lot of people were there, and my parents were invited, and they were there. And I was in a circle with people speaking, and my parents were there. And one I think a woman or a man, I can't remember, said to my mother, "Wow, isn't it amazing? Isn't it enjoyable that your son did all this?" And my mother said, "Yeah, but with 10 kilos less, it would be better." So referring to the fact that I gained weight, and she said that. And I remember I was like, holy shit, like, but I knew, my God, like the old Bart, he would have taken her, throwing her out of the window, and then feeling lousy and then I went to the bathroom and stayed there. I said, okay, have a choice, but what choice? What I will do? And I just decided to not doing anything. And that was a real change, a real choice.
Yeah.
I don't have to go there.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not, but that is what she sees in me, like, and that is what is her foreground. And on the moment somebody says like, wow, your son, she just can't, it just doesn't enter. She has no place in her. It isn't about me. This is nothing about me. This is all about her. But it even then, I was more than 50 I was 50 on that moment. It was kind of and I had like 4 years of therapy of training in therapy. So it was really difficult, to just not let her become the mother I always had and the mother I always fought with, and just to stay, okay, this is her, and if I don't do anything, I'm not concerned.
Yeah.
It's and it meant a lot of it's a sort of it's a freedom you give yourself, not even blaming her, or not even, that's the reality. That is what she can do. And I know that she loves me. I mean, it isn't about those words. Those are simply words coming out of a whatever. Yeah. I don't know where they come from. But the real connection between me and my mother are not in those words, and not in other words. They are just there, it's just my mother. So it isn't because she says that I have to stop, like, being her son. Yeah. In a way.
Yeah.
And so the freedom in that, because you would think, like, in therapy, you think you have to stand up for yourself, and make her clear. But imagine if I would have talked to her and said with my energy, you can't say that, this is irrespectful, and blah, blah, blah. She would, I mean, there is no way to talk with her about that.
Yeah,
there is no way.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Why? What is the importance of all that? Except for me, that I was touched. I learned the not seeing child in me. I learned his emotions. I learned the process. And I learned there is another way. You don't have to every time stand up for yourself. Yeah. Choose your battles. Choose your battles.
Do you ever meet people who, when you talk to them, when you hear them talk, it's their mama talking through them, or their papa or their grandpapa, and you're like, yeah, but what do you want? Who are you? Mm-hmm. Like, why does that happen? That those voices or those, mm-hmm. it's there and it's talking through them, instead they are not themselves, actually.
Well, the masks, our masks, it's never ourselves. So it's never ourselves. So where are we going to look for those voices? Papa, mama. It's always those voices, and it can be like I was like the rebel, of course. I was like the fighter, and I said, "You are wrong, you are wrong, you are wrong." But in a way, it was part of the inner voice of my parents, and part of the inner voice of my mother and of my father. It was what they didn't say about themselves.
Mm.
This my like, so the inner voice, so the mask, the voice of the mask is always the voice of the parents. It can be the voice of the parents of their mask, what they say,
Yeah.
and it can be the part of their shadow.
Ah. Huh.
But it's never yours,
Yeah.
because that is how children, they just absorb. They just absorb.
Mm. Oh.
And they create a voice, but out of what they hear, out of what they perceive, of and of course it's well, imagine you have that not seen child with all those emotions that is overwhelming, and it doesn't want to be overwhelmed. Okay, and then there is that mind that starts
Mm.
creating itself. Where does it, which sentences,
Mm.
just what it hears.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, I think our masks are not, well, are not ours. And you see, like, like, well, if my parents would come into therapy, imagine my parents coming to therapy and they would complain about their older son, which is a difficult child. Yeah? That's me. Well, it's clear that two persons who are like that, my parents are quite symbiotic, not much conflicts, like, okay, then you get a child like that, like the opposite, who brings you the opposite, who brings you, I brought the anger that they couldn't process. I brought everything. So you have or the child, which is completely like you, which is
Mm.
totally local, which is a copy of one of the parents.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the child, which is like, that's mostly the rebel, or the outsider, which brings what the family can't see.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
that is totally unconscious.
Yeah.
Unconscious. And it's never his voice. It's always a voice of somebody else. But it's his task to do something with that voice, because he can't get rid of that voice.
Mm-hmm.
We still don't have a decent brainwasher. That would be good, the one who that's an invention of the future. If you're young, maybe like a dishwasher. Imagine a brainwasher. Wow.
Yeah.
Then the world would proceed, like, we lose so much time in therapy and
Uh,
all that shit. But imagine a brainwasher.
yeah.
Wow.
Bart, how would you define shadow work? Like how is it used and why do people need it?
Mm. Well, in my definition of shadow, which is like the shadow is the not seen child,
Mm-hmm.
the not seen child with all the emotions, and the split. So the shadow is created. The child is kept in the shadow by the split, by the brain.
Mm-hmm.
That is, and the brain says, no, 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 only the mask, only the mask. And then if the child, he wants to, so he reacts. Okay. And the brain says, no, no, no.
Mm-hmm.
So the brain is there. So for me, I think shadow work needs brain out, because the brain is the problem. Yeah. I can't imagine shadow work out of the brain. That will be blah, 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 more blah, blah, blah. I mean, this is not shadow work. I mean, nobody will.
Yeah.
Yeah. So shadow work needs to be the brain out. So we need to experience something bodily.
Yeah.
It's our body, the only engine we have able to integrate. That's the body. Finally, the body, like animals, they don't keep trauma. If a fox comes and it kills half of my chicken, the other ones will, after 1, 2, 3 hours, move, and in that movement will process all the trauma, and it will not stay in their bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a body like that, an animal body, who is able to process everything.
Yeah.
So it needs to have that, and for me, it needs to have contact, like all the overwhelming of the not seen child, the overwhelming feelings were all created in relationships. A child will not be, it's like in relationships mostly by the mother, by the father, all those moments. And so, of course, it needs a resolution in body contact. It needs to have contact, not me by myself and my body. Okay, there is trauma work, which is based on respiration and on moving those emotions, like when you're alone, like with a therapist, but not into contact, like EMDR or things like that. But I think when you do it in contact and you bring bodies in contact, like we do in reconstructive, that it's another layer, and we call it deeper. But yeah, of course, like there's perception. Imagine the animals who live in the deepest of the sea, they will call the surface the deepest. It depends how and from where you look. But I think real integration, the body integrates. We need to allow our body to just feel what is to be felt and to find solutions. With these solutions, well, it will be part feeling the overwhelmingness, the stuckness, the everything, and then allowing this body to breathe into it and to carry it and to just process. And the body is amazingly able to do that if you allow it, if you allow it to do it, and if you really allow your brain to stay out. And that is the most difficult part, because we are so used of that our brain takes over and split. Brain takes over and split. So I think that is why reconstructive is so amazing, because we really bring people at least like 20-25 minutes in a sort of flow where their brain doesn't exist. And that is like, wow, that a body can live that. For me, reconstructive is one of the most, one of the most, for me, it's nearly a holy experience, like a sort of experience, like, oh my God, that my body can do this, that there is a body and that it can feel all that, and that I couldn't understand, and I wasn't even thinking, and my thinking was not there. That is kind of, for me, it really put my world upside down, and that's why I do it, because I want to give as much people as I can that experience, because it's a life-changing experience. That is also life. Life is not only what you think. That is life. And then, of course, comes the very difficult task because you can't live life like a reconstructive. I mean, okay, we are here talking and talking and talking, which is the opposite of reconstructive. But okay, we have to do it with that integration, because we live in a society that is, where contact is the way it is now. So the second part, the how do I translate it into my decisions, into my movements, into my relationships, is of course a big step. But I think people have a chance through the strength of the experience of reconstructing, through that understanding.
How do you describe reconstructive to people who are not familiar with any kind, like this deep kind of work?
Well, I try to make it simple, but of course, the fact is the brain can't understand. Okay, that is as simple. So nobody will understand it until you experience it. It's like going on the ice for the first time. So how do you explain? I mean, come on. So you can only explain the process. The process is that you have a part in you that is not seen, and that you have that mask, and that they need integration. And what do we do in reconstructive? We say, okay, we build a structure where we say to people, okay, your mind is out, and follow your body, and do it the way you can. And okay, they search and they all panic in the beginning, and they say, I can't do it, and oh my God, and then suddenly they do it, and they are like nearly all. It's really rare that somebody stays out. They are taken by that. I don't know what it is, like that. I don't know if it's insanity or I don't know. I mean, there is a part of reconstructive I can't understand. The only thing I know is that our body loves it. It's kind of it's a place. It's a sort of it's a freedom. It's living, it's letting your body really be free in its animal, bodily, emotionally reaction and bringing movement inside. And apparently our body is just waiting for that. Like, oh my God, finally the mind, he shed ups. Finally, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then it comes with all kinds of things without any control in a way, because there is no control. It goes so fast, so fast, one thing after the other, that you're totally out of control. And we love it in a way, you know, sort of that being out of control, but then that seeing that the whole process of the four in the big group is like going somewhere. That is most amazing experience, that if you surrender, then there is something taking over, which and the process goes somewhere. The process goes somewhere, and nobody knows where it goes to. Even me, for me, well, you know, like, I think this work was created for me, you know, like, I see myself as well, in Dutch we say like Bob the Builder, you know, like, the man who fixes everything. So I needed a work where I just wouldn't interfere, you know. I wouldn't. My task is to do nothing, which for me is the most difficult thing. But, you know, like, I saw there, you know, I just instruct, and then they do it, and you know, like, that's why it's so good for me.
I like what you say during the training. It's like you just a tube for energy to move through, and it's like we're just opening the kraan, where the water streams or the energy streams to. You just open it and allow it to flow more and more and more, and it's really beautiful, because when you see people before it, everybody's like, what's gonna happen, like, holy shit, but afterwards everybody's like, you know, like, really silent, like, what just happened, like, just it's really
yeah. And then for me, that is the really, for me, that's the only real spirituality. The moment you understand that you don't understand anything, so that is an aspect of life we can't understand. And I think mostly we with our brain, our small little brain, which is, I think, we make it really big, all our words, but it's only, it's a little, in a way, a little organ of our, you know, of our, well, when I refer to chicken, they are so happy. Why are they so happy? Because their brain is so tiny, you know, like, they don't have much. And so they're happy. Or they're happy, they are, you know, they live. And ours, finally, like mine, the big head, I mean, you know, but finally, if you see my whole body, it's not that much. But we think we live from here. You know, all life comes from here, and it's the opposite. And the moment you understand that, I think that is where spirituality starts a little bit, you know. And then you can see that the only thing we do here on earth is what we do, finally, what we do, like, earthly, like in actions, and not to words, and not to words. I each day less, I don't support all those spiritual blob.
Bart,
it's kind of,
we have to go in and out once again. Can you? Do you still have time, or do you have to go?
Well, yes, I had. I have to leave at maybe half an hour.
Yes,
so
great.
Awesome. Oké, wat is er nog over aan vragen?
So, like, you teaching this, you being involved in this, is this like a calling for you?
I don't know. No, I don't. For calling, I'm so happy that finally I found a way of living. You know, like, it's a way of living. I finally found a way I can live. So it's more like, it's more like something like that. It's not, it's like uh, a lot of things, a lot of paths, a lot of struggles in my life join in this. I'm not saying I understand what life is about, but you could say that all the experiences of little Bart, of the adult Bart, of all the experience, they well, they kind of come together in this work. So the fact that I can share this work, it's a sort of a passion. And the sharing of the passion with students, with you, with the facilitators, with the sharing of that is kind of, maybe it's the only real contact in life. It's that doesn't mean that when I have contact with people who, and we, don't ask my brother, or that there is no contact about that, and that is okay. That doesn't mean that, but there is something about the sharing of that, about the sharing of that. And I think, well, what for me is really the clue is that there is no end. So there is no, it never stops. Never ever stops. I don't think it stops. There is an evolution in, well, there is a sort of creativity in, sometimes I look at my own posts of Facebook is so horrible. They just present it like your post of 3 years ago. And I'm like, oh my, like, is that me? No. So there is a, I mostly am in love with my latest way of giving words to it, and there is a sort of, not progress, is sort of, but there is sort of evolution in it.
Yeah.
So I think that is also that is the creativity also, like to well, we have that tool. That tool is the experience, the body experience, that body work. We have it, but then how do you reach people with that? How do you attract people? How do you bring that group into that experience? How do you pass this tool to other people who wants to do it? Like, it's of course you have to do it like with your mask. It's my mask now talking.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not my soul. I mean, my soul has no words. If you would be in contact with my soul, you wouldn't hear anything, like, so it's, I have to do it with my mask, and in a way I have to do it with both, and looking for new ways, in a way also to surprise myself. I always love when I talk, when I teach, whatever, that I surprise myself.
Yeah.
I'm like a little, sometimes I'm like a little child when I just found a new way, a new way of perceiving, a new way of seeing the world, the work also, a new, it's like, and that is what it's about. So it's something that lives in me, that grows in me, and well, and that allows me to live as well. It's sort of. Yeah. So it's not death, or it's not. Yeah, it's alive.
Yeah.
And it will be, well, it will have its life, even when I'm dead. I think. I mean, it is kind of a method. Yeah, that will be probably when I die, like, it will be like a pity, sort of, that I will not know, like, how it will live. What is the life of reconstructive? I think a tool has a life, as a life, as a destiny, as a. And then I speak about this tool, and I even don't, and I say it, if I find a better tool or a more suitable tool, I take that. I'm not, I mean, I want to stay open to everything, and I'm now saying, well, a part of me says no. But when I was like a Gestalt therapist, and then in my training, like in 15 years ago, well, I found that tool amazing. And now, like, well, I found it really amazing. So it's kind of, it's kind of, yeah, and that is, I think, the most amazing thing about life, is that well, in a way that you never know what will happen.
Yes.
You never really know what will happen, but what will happen will be amazing.
Do you then think that there's like a soul plan or a destiny that every person has? Or lessons that they have to learn or something like that?
I don't know. It's a good question. It's a difficult question. What is difficult for me that, well, I will give you the answer I would have given you like 6 months ago or a year ago, and then the one now. 6 months ago I would have said, yeah, that I believed in souls knowing each other from other lives and then meeting in this life to have a joint mission, and I now I think that is little Bart. But big Bart, I don't know. I really don't
know. What's like your understanding of reincarnation and karma and purpose? Is that also little Bart?
Maybe, probably, maybe, but I think yeah, we can't understand. It's beyond our understanding. The only thing I must have say, I love the idea of reincarnation. It gives me, I love the idea of what is bigger than this life. There must be something bigger than this life. And I love it. And even if it's kind of a religion, you know, I love Jesus, and then Jesus gives me like, even if it's not, but you know, I'm definitely, what I really think is that, well, we consider our life the memories we have from 6 to now. So we consider our life the mind. What my mind think, all my identifications, that's me. And I'm really sure life is far bigger. That what travels from one life to another, and which is then linked to my identity, I don't know. But there is something bigger.
Yeah.
There is something bigger. But yeah, like I never now believe stories like, okay, in 1465, you and Igor were married, and you were the wife, and he was the man, and he beat at you, and that's why he irritates you that much. I mean, that's kind of, you know, like that. I mean, you know, that oh, you see, that is the child. That is the child. We you know, but it's clear that we are far more than and I really love to go beyond this life, to go beyond this identification, to go to the origin of life. And but, well, I'm aware not to create new stories.
Yeah.
So that you know, once you go out of that zone without words, I think we have to keep it without words.
Yeah.
But because words will create a new story, and then we love it or we hate it, but maybe it's childish, and then it's again, you know, part of the mask. So all what is beyond is without words. I think it's really without words, and words don't reach there.
Can you?
So yeah, maybe it's less. Maybe it's more cruel than we, you know, than we want. But okay, you know, like I think life on itself now is worthwhile.
Yeah.
And whether we come back or whether we were here before, well,
yeah.
Who will tell? Who will tell?
Can you say something about your own truth or honesty, sincerity, and the 50-50?
No. Yeah, good. You have really good questions. For me, truth was always an obsession. I always found myself a liar, you know, like, and I always thought, you know, if I'm able to tell the truth, then, you know, people will treat me good, you know, like, sort of. I always had the feeling I was fake, I was a doctor, and I graduated. I was and then I was in the hospital, like with that white coat, and I felt so fake. I was saying, my God, I'm so fake, I'm so fake, and I give the illusion to people that I know everything, and I don't know anything. Like, yeah, take this medication, it will be good for you, and yeah, and then doctor and doctor and doctor, and I felt, like, so it has been really an obsession to me, like, and I thought the solution was to be honest, but well, if you see the image, like we talk from one mask to another, there is no honesty. So everybody, hey, see how perfect I am. See this, see this. It's simply because we don't know ourselves, So in a way, so like in couples, a lot of couple therapy, and then dishonesty and betrayal and big words, and yeah, nobody's honest. No, nobody. Well, maybe it's good that I'm not honest, like, who is waiting for all my thoughts? It's like, it's it's kind of, so in a way, honesty has a lot to do with words, and words are not important. And justice, the longing for justice, it's a child. So the not seen child thinks justice would have been if they have seen me, and it creates the illusion that seeing him, justice in whatever form, would help. But we live on a planet without justice. It's not what life is about. You live on, if you look for justice, you're on the wrong planet. Go and look for another planet. Here, nothing with life has to do with justice. Life has to do with survival. And with, of course, for humans, that doesn't mean that we have to behave like animals. But you need to become in touch with that. And if you are in touch with your own life and with your own frequency and with your own, all your bitter parts, then, well, you can have a sort of a contact. But honesty has a lot to do with, you have to tell me everything so that I can control you and I can manipulate you, and like, what is honesty? Okay, there is a kind of honesty I'm a fan of, that is, make it simple. What do you want? But that is honesty about what you want, about the movement. In reconstructive, we are really honest in the movement. We are follow your impulse. So that is be really honest, not in your words, but in what you want. But on that moment, not on the stories you tell. So that is a kind of honesty, that we have to learn. So it's never in words, and a word is never honest. Because a word means different things for every. If I say love, I have a definition of love, a story of love, a whole path with love, and you as well. So we will never understand. So how can we be honest about that? It's not possible. So honesty has to do with something else, like I think maybe that is why I love reconstructive so much, that we are honest in that work. And that's the only way of humans to be honest. It's in that, and there is something like in reconstructive, as if nobody's watching. And nobody's watching because everybody is in it. And anyway, I'm out, but I don't see anything in a way, I don't understand because I'm not in. And people feel it. They feel that in a way that there is that safety. So they become, in a way, they let their bodies become more honest. What is honest? Follow your impulses. That's an honesty. But the brain doesn't know anything about honesty. Is only manipulating. Be honest with me so I can I can. And that is a lot of men, more than women, have identify their problem as that they can't be honest, that they don't know very well what they feel.
And when they do come upon the moment of recognizing when there's a breakdown of something or they really have to face it, then there's maybe a chance to honestly look at it and then either take the responsibility or not take the responsibility for it and do something with it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. But the doing with it is always, well, the child in us really needs our protection. Needs us to see it, needs our protection, and then go into the outside world. You know, that is, I think that is that is also protection of, how can I explain? I have to protect my child from the child of the others, and I have to protect the child of the others from my child.
Okay. Wow.
Because my child is not seen, is heard by the others.
Yeah.
But then it becomes angry and judgmental and all things, and then it hurts.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the protection. It's kind of like in airplanes, they say, like, if there is a lack of oxygen, put on a mask first, you, and then your children.
Yeah.
So that is the way it goes, you know. So that is, the adult in us takes first care of the own child in protection, but it's of course to protect the children of the other from what? Well, from my child, from the way it protects itself. It tries to defend himself. He judges, well, because we always see that vulnerable, hurt child, but it's like, you know, a hurt animal who's hiding, like a cat. When a cat is hurt, it hides under the sofa, but try to approach it. That is the animal in us.
Yeah.
So we need to protect our child for the animal of others, and we need to protect the child of the other for our animal.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then of course you have the masks, and then the mask is all about, I don't know anything, I didn't see anything, and I was not there.
Yeah.
And I have good intentions, and please see my good intentions.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to share it here or if it's only for your courses, but I found, and my friend who also attended your course found, really the way you explained what do I want and the 50-50 really enlightening. Can you maybe explain that? Or is that only for the courses?
No, but I'm not sure I'm clear, or I can, because I mean, for me it's not.
So
it's tell me a little bit more,
and
then it will come back, I hope.
So like taking the responsibility for your own wants and needs, and then honoring, okay, this is what I want. What do you want? Can we make a deal? And if we can't, then we can't be together, can't work together, or can't continue this anymore. Like the simplicity and the, it's radical almost.
Yeah. The mind is always about complication, but it's complicated, confused, complicated. It's like every detail is important. Like the mind will try to make agreements, not about what do you want now, but what do you want the coming 50 years. Imagine. We need to make an agreement about what I want the next 50 years and you the next. We never will get anywhere. You know, that's the mind. It's confusion. When we go make it simple, it is as simple as we can't repair the past. So even if I hurt you, what do you want me to do? You know, I can't go back, and it's impossible. So it's always about, what do you want? What do you want? And when you listen to somebody who wants something from you, it's always also about, what do you want? Not only can you do what he wants, but also, okay, if you do what he wants, what do you want then? so that there is balance.
Mm-hmm.
It's not only about what you want, it's about what, if I want to do what you want, but also about what I want then.
Yeah.
And then people are always good in one of both. Some people are really good telling everybody what they want, but they never ask what the other wants. And some people are really good in only doing what other want, but they never are able to say what they want, or in return, or it for me, there is no, we are not Jesus. We are not Jesus. So it's the mask. We have a Jesus mask or a Maria mask. A lot of women have a Maria mask, and they say, no, I love to sacrifice myself for my children. And then they are so bitter, and then the bills come. So we are not good people. Like, of course, because there is that child in us that is not seen, and we think, if I show myself as a good person, then it will be seen, and then it is not the consequence, and then so we need to make it simple, and to always see if that we come to a deal, and the deal is always simple. Simple. What is a good deal? Like for a house, it's a price. I buy you this house for this price, and we are both agree. And it isn't about maybe or in the future, or it's nothing about that. You don't have to come a month later and say, okay, I sold you my house, but now I think I want 10,000 more. I mean, it's crazy, but this is what we all the time do in normal relationship. So the deal needs to be clear. That means that it's a deal. So there is no way of, you can try a new deal. But and in making deals, you have to create for yourself the option of different possibilities. So you have to reflect, what do I want? But in what I want, there are different options. The child sees only one option that is always the same, but there are different options. I can do it like this, I can do it like that, I can, there are 4 or 5 options. Every option has different consequences. And then you choose what you want. And then you go with that to the other, and the other also has 4 or 5 options to react. So there is a clarifying process in both, and then they come to an agreement, and it's clear. It's clear. And then you learn your child, even if you are disappointed. Well, okay, you make a deal. You made the deal yourself. Okay, next time I will make my deal differently. Okay, that's okay. You will learn. We are in a learning process. But I don't have to come with my disappointment to you. Yeah. Because I made the deal, and I was conscious, and I reflected on it. And maybe I judged it wrong. Okay, then next time we do it different. And then there is no, we have to really, being adult is accepting the consequences of our decisions. And every decision has different consequences. And a decision is always a joint decision. Yeah, we can decide things on our own, but I mean, contact is about joint decisions. Yeah. And well, simple, clear, effective. In the words, if there are words, simple, clear, effective. And the wisdom comes beyond words, always. There is a wisdom in that. So, well, what do you want? It's a difficult question for people. What do you want? And why is it so difficult? Because they always think they have to have an explanation. And there is no explanation. If I want a banana to eat, do I have to write like 30 pages? I mean, there is no reason. Even for relationships. If I'm in a relationship with my partner, it's just because I want. Because I want to be there. Will I want it tomorrow? I don't know. Why? I don't know. It's it. Yeah. It's simple. It's just because I want. And I take all consequences. And then for yourself, you can say, okay, choose a path where you learn something. That's my advice. Choose experiences where you learn something. At least, life is as boring as it is sometimes. So see, at least you learn something, then mostly that gives you the feeling you're alive. But we get, our words confuse us. And sometimes reality is so simple. It's even sometimes too simple. So we need, so we don't dare to say I want this relationship now, because we think, what if I'm wrong, and if tomorrow I regret it, and like, so we oblige ourselves to be sure that we will want it in 10 years, and then of course we never get there, because we can't predict the future and we don't know who we will be tomorrow. And then we get so confused. So I think simplify your own thoughts, your own wants, your own emotions is the biggest task, and it's what the child wants.
Yeah.
The well, as simple as, if you are confused, you're just confused. Get clear then.
Yeah.
If you are overwhelmed, you're just overwhelmed. Find a base, a fundament, and from there you continue. It's make it really simple. The emotions are so simple. There are only 4 emotions. So, and of course, our mind likes the details and likes to. All the people in therapy, they say, yeah, sometimes I'm a bit frustrated with myself. It's, okay, you're angry. No. Yeah, it's a bit. You're just angry. So you're angry. Okay, what do you want with that anger? So that is a way of really, like, and then because the child hides behind all those plays of the mind, like the mind plays around with the words, and it's not that word, and no, you don't understand me, and like plays around. So make it simple, clear, effective. Everything, your mind, your emotions, what you want, and your communication. Simple, clear, effective. And that's a big task, it's a big task.
It is.
That's but at least it's well, it's a guideline of it's a guideline.
Yeah,
it's a guideline, and it's a better, for me, a better guideline than try to know it, because that is the way I lived until, well, yeah, the most part of my life. I try to know it. I try to grab it. I try to and well, then you try to do something which is not possible.
Thank you, Bart. See, it's your time to go. Thank you so much for
Yes.
being here with me. If it's okay, I will contact you later for a follow-up, because I still have questions. But thank you so much. It was really lovely to spend time with you, to talk with you, and I really look forward to the reconstructive next month.
Yeah. So thank you for the invitation. Well, I wish all you and all your listeners all the best in their path. Well, if I can do something, just let me know. Like social media are now really offering that kind of possibility to just react quickly. So, well, I would. It was a pleasure to be here and to be able to share.
Thank you so much.
So, looking forward to whatever's coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.